Tonight, U.S. trade talks rebooted.
We're going to focus on getting the best deal for Canadians. We're making progress. There's more to do.
The Carney government rescinds the contentious digital services tax to restart negotiations.
The deal is super important to Canadian small and medium-sized companies.
The White House says Canada caved and claims a big victory for the president. Plus, preparing for Canada Day.
Happy Canada Day, everyone!
Windsor-Essex celebrates the Maple Leaf. And Windsor takes a swing.
With Windsor and its size, its interest in sports, a long history of just great baseball, we think it's a good market to be in.
The Rose City looks around the bases and bring high-level baseball to town.
CTV News with Stephanie Mazzotti.
Good evening. Stephanie is off. I'm Ricardo, Veneza. We begin tonight with developing news in the trade dispute between Canada and the U.S. It was abruptly terminated on Friday by President Donald Trump, but those talks are now back on. That's after Ottawa decided to drop its contentious digital services tax. Correspondent Mike LeCouture has more on the negotiation reset.
Prime Minister Mark Carney says discussions between Canada and the U.S. restarted this morning after a call with President Donald Trump last night. But the way the Americans are framing it is very different.
It's very simple. Prime Minister Carney in Canada caved.
A blunt assessment of how it all played out from the White House. The two leaders spoke late last night, and then Canada announced it was rescinding the digital services tax. Carney said removing it was part of a bigger negotiation.
It doesn't make sense to collect tax from people and then remit them back. So it provides some certainty.
The DST was intended to collect tax from big tech companies that make money off Canadian users but don't pay Canadian taxes. Carney says the two sides will now work towards negotiating a full trade deal by July 21st.
The White House says you caved. Is that how it went down?
The Prime Minister wouldn't answer that, but the Canadian Chamber of Commerce applauds the move, pointing to the bigger picture negotiation.
$3.6 billion worth of trade crosses our border every single day with the United States. We can't afford to play with that. We need to make sure we secure that.
Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre believes Carney should have got something in return. Writing on X, in exchange, the Prime Minister should insist that the U.S. immediately rescind softwood lumber tariffs, adding, we need to make gains for our workers in these talks.
They forced the U.S.'s hand.
Michael Geist specializes in internet and e-commerce law. He says Canada needs smarter tech regulation than to just make web giants pay up.
We've too often looked at these companies as akin to almost like a policy ATM, where we're anxious to do withdrawals to help fund some of our policy objectives, but we haven't really factored in the costs associated with this and some of the potential negative consequences that might come about.
Now, rescinding the DST would require an act of Parliament, but the Prime Minister's office says instead of recalling the House, the government will simply stop collecting the tax until they can remove it altogether. Mike LeCouture, CTV News, Ottawa.
Well, Canada Day is coming up tomorrow, and in Windsor-Essex, there is no shortage of things to do and ways to show your pride. Now, Michelle Molesky is joining us with more on that tonight and some of the fun that we have coming up in the region.
Yeah, absolutely. And it starts with kind of one of these bad news, good news situations. I wanted to start this story talking about a great new collab between the United Way and BB Branded. They made these great Canadian shirts. I called today. They are sold out. Meanwhile, over at the Flag Depot, it's business as usual with one exception.
Business is booming at the Flag Depot.
This year we are selling more Canadian flags because of the situation we have for next door.
Owner Sunny Sadat says customers are coming in and snagging flags of all shapes, but leaving others behind. Like this once locally popular friendship flag. It used to fly off the shelves, with Canada and the U.S. celebrating so close together. Now, not so much.
I used to sell more, but I'm selling now is less. Yes, it is changed because of that gentleman.
Happy Canada Day, everyone!
Windsor's Canada Day Parade returns to downtown, stepping off at 11 a.m. from Olette and Giles. Lakeshore is also hosting a parade in the afternoon. Fireworks, always a big draw to local events. Displays are planned at dusk in Amherstburg, Harrow, Kingsville, Leamington, and Lakeshore. Meanwhile, LaSalle is going a different direction with a Canadian-themed drone show.
We just had the Strawberry Festival where we do a really large firework display, so we thought, let's do something a little bit different, and they do something themed for Canada Day, so we wanted to try something unique, and I know a lot of our neighboring municipalities are going to do fireworks, so it gives people an option of what they want to go see.
Meantime, in Tecumseh, their Canada Day events are all at Lakewood Park, and they are in need of extras. They're shooting a promotional video for the town. They need cyclists and pedestrians. You'll find the details and a link to sign up with casting at ctvnewswindsor.ca. And while you're there, you'll also find a full list and links to all of the events happening across Windsor-Essex. I put them all together in one handy article. And don't forget, there is free admission at any Parks Canada location, including Fort Malden and Point Pelee National Park. The good news there, Ricardo, that lasts until September 2nd.
Fantastic. Okay, Michelle, very comprehensive.
Day.
Yeah, happy Canada Day, folks. Thank you so much. That's our Michelle Molesky tonight. Well, that takes us to our question of the day. Are you celebrating Canada Day? You can go to our website to cast your vote on that question. That is ctvnewswindsor.ca. Now, on Friday, we asked if you are proud to be Canadian. Of almost 1,100 votes, 90% say absolutely yes. Well, let's go now to our own Gary Archibald as we take a look at forecasts tonight, Gary. And we've had these threatening clouds. It seems like we've got some active weather on the way.
Active weather in the vicinity. You're right about that. Good evening, folks. The showers could be in some isolated areas, starting to build as I speak. And over the next couple of hours, we are surrounded by this very moist, unstable air mass that's pushing right across the heart of southern Ontario. Good draw from the southwest with this warm, moist, energized air means once we go through the next couple of hours, we could still see residual effects, second and third waves moving through the region. I'll break down where the temperatures are headed for Canada Day. Will it be a scorcher, a sultry day, or more comfortable? It's all coming up with my complete forecast just ahead.
Okay, Gary, thank you for that. Well, Ontario's Special Investigations Unit has cleared an OPP officer of any wrongdoing in a shooting investigation on Walpole Island. Police received a call March 2nd about a man threatening people with a gun at a home, then fleeing in an SUV before officers got there. The SIU report says during a roadblock attempt, the man sped towards officers and the officer fired 2 shots at the SUV. No one was injured in that shooting. The investigation determined the officer fired his weapon, believing it was necessary to protect another officer. LaSalle police are investigating a stabbing early this morning in the area behind Zares and Fresco on Malden Road. Police say around 2:30 this morning, a 31-year-old man was stabbed 5 times on Delmar Street. Police say the suspect and victim are not known to each other. The man was taken to hospital and treated for what police call non-life-threatening injuries. He's in stable condition at the moment. Police say there are no threats to public safety, and this remains an active investigation. Residents and businesses on Delmar and the immediate area are asked to notify officers if they have any video footage that may be helpful in that investigation. Windsor police are asking for help investigating 2 West End auto thefts, both happening this past Thursday morning. Police say the first was stolen from a home on Gerardot near Micmac Park and was found abandoned in a ditch on Malden Road. About an hour later, someone unsuccessfully tried to steal a vehicle from a Brock Street home just south of College, damaging the ignition in the process. Now, investigators are asking everyone in that area bordered by Prince Road, Tecumseh Road, Huron Church and Millen Street to check any surveillance footage they might have, again, to aid with that investigation. Well, turning now to the monthly Crime Stoppers report with our Melanie Kentner. And Melanie, you've got some red flags for us to watch out for regarding online marketplace scams and tips on how to protect yourself.
Yes, police are alerting the public about marketplace scams. I'm with Crime Stoppers Coordinator Rick Surrett. What can you tell us about this?
Well, we want to help viewers so that they don't get scammed. Facebook Marketplace has made it easier than ever to buy and sell goods on the secondary market. But scammers can use these platforms using fake profiles, fake listings, and also fraudulent payment options to scam potential buyers. So we're prioritizing education and trying to prevent these things from happening.
And what are some of the red flags that people should look for?
Well, the big red flag is a deal that seems too good to be true. And then also asking for items before payment or odd payment requests. But the biggest takeaway with respect to this segment for our viewers are any links that are sent to any buyer, such as a e-transfer link or something like that. So what the fraudsters are trying to do is they're trying to get the buyer to click on the link, and that's how they extract your bank information. Unfortunately, all the boiler rooms with respect to those types of frauds are overseas, and it puts a stranglehold on what police can do.
Those are some great tips. Now, what can people do to protect themselves?
Well, they can check the person's profile. You can also check their account activity. Don't accept payment up front. Avoid overpayments and refund scams, and keep your communication within Facebook. Don't text or call. And what we also recommend is that you meet in public in a well-lit area and the exchange be in cash. We're here at the LaSalle Police Service. They have an inter-exchange site, and also the Collision Reporting Center on Jefferson and Windsor, and then also all the provincial police detachments in Essex County.
And what should you do if you think you've seen a scam?
Well, if your banking has been compromised, notify your banking institution right away. You can also notify Facebook Marketplace directly and alert them of the scam. But you can also notify the Canadian Anti-Fraud Center. But if it's a local sale and you've been threatened, you can call your local police service, or you can call us here at Crime Stoppers anonymously at 1-800-222-TIPS or online at catchcrooks.com.
Some great information there. Thanks, Rick. And that's your Crime Stoppers report.
Okay, Melanie, thank you for that. Yeah, some tips to keep in mind. Well, the Wheatley branch of the Chatham-Kent Public Library may reopen as early as Thursday. The library closed, of course, following that gas leak last week at the rear of the property there. The municipality says if all goes well, the library will reopen for regular hours at 4 p.m. on Thursday. A thorough investigation of the property must take place first before any possible reopening. Well, putting the pedal to the metal is soon going to have a new meaning in Windsor. The province is loosening its rules around pedal pubs to allow the boozy ride to roll through the roads while riders sip on board. Our Chris Campbell joins us now with more on this. And Chris, this change is going to happen very quickly. It's effective as of tomorrow.
Yes, Ricardo. Starting Canada Day, pedal pub operators in Windsor can apply for a license to serve alcohol. The province says it's a way to support tourism and small business, and the move is getting a warm welcome here from local businesses and city officials.
Pedal pubs, those group bicycles that carry a dozen or more people from bar to bar, are getting an upgrade.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea.
Until now, drinking was only allowed at the individual stops or after the ride was over. But as of July 1st, riders in 4 communities, Niagara-on-the-Lake, Toronto, Ottawa, and Windsor, can enjoy a beverage on board, as long as the operator secures a license from the Alcohol and Gaming Commission of Ontario.
I think that'd be really cool, actually.
I think it would be.
Some kind of different activity, something fun to do in Windsor.
As long as there's something nice to do in the city and it's exciting and the driver's not drinking, it's great.
Pedal pubs can only operate in a community once the local municipality passes a bylaw allowing them. Windsor City Councillor Ronaldo Agostino says he fully supports the move and plans to bring it forward at the next City Council meeting.
Looking forward to seeing that happen. It's another cool thing to be happening in our community.
The province says the move supports Ontario's $32 billion tourism industry and is part of a wider effort to modernize the alcohol marketplace. Windsor-Tecumseh MPP Andrew Dowie, speaking on the Dan McDonald Show, says it's a step in the right direction.
Really what we saw here was a great opportunity to allow for more local Ontario product to be distributed. Local Ontario breweries, wineries, cideries, and other producers gives them a bit of another venue to sell our local products and create a destination experience for our community.
It is exciting news, like beyond exciting to hear that they're finally going to allow us to serve alcohol, as we've been waiting for this for about 3 years.
Officials at Pedal & Pour in Windsor say they're excited about the change and hope to start serving later this summer. The city has the power to set specific rules like hours of operation and designated routes.
This is the government adding an experience that people are doing all over the place. I know people go over to Detroit all the time for it. It's a fun thing to do, to get a group of friends together, and it's a daytime activity. It's something different, and it'll be cool in Windsor.
Councillor Agostino tells me he sees this as an opportunity to connect pedal pub patrons to more businesses around town. The next City Council meeting is July 14th. Ricardo?
Okay, Chris, yeah, sounds like a fun idea. That's CTV's Chris Campbell tonight. Well, the future of the River Marina and restaurant may depend on the results of an upcoming safety and accessibility inspection. The building houses office space on the main floor for marina operations and a restaurant on the second floor. The municipality has been going through a process to re-envision the property around the River Marina. But a request for proposals to operate a restaurant on the second floor overlooking Lake St. Clair saw no responses. The building doesn't have an elevator or a lift, and the hallways are narrow, posing accessibility challenges. Council is expecting another report on marina operations along with the safety and accessibility inspection before any decisions are actually made. Well, Windsor is making a pitch for a new sports team. The Inter-County Baseball League says Windsor is one of the many cities that's interested in fielding a new team. CTV's Robert Lothian has more on the work that's needed to make this dream a reality.
Windsor is looking to build on its reputation as a sports city.
With Windsor and its size, its interest in sports, a long history of just great baseball, we think it's a good market to be in.
The Inter-County Baseball League, featuring players from across the world, is planning an expansion to 10 teams.
I think it's fantastic news. Windsor's always been a hotbed of baseball. I'm surprised that it hadn't happened prior to this.
Now, Windsor does have some existing ball diamonds, such as this one behind me here at Micmac Park, but retrofitting this for the IBL will take some work. The league has already said there will be a need for change rooms for players and umpires, as well as concession stands for fans. And of course, with attendance often reaching more than 1,000 people per game, they said there's also going to be a need for some added seating.
I think adding seating would be no issue, but maybe a few more of the amenities that you would need. And probably Cullen Field at Micmac Park would be the place.
Ward 8 City Councillor Gary Kashak says it's a discussion he wants to have at Windsor City Hall.
If they come in and have to have these facilities for their use for those number of games and practices and so forth, you know, it'd be the demise of some of these organizations.
The Riverside Baseball Association wants assurances an IBL team won't affect field time for Windsor-Essex leagues. Treasurer Bill Kell says if done right, it can benefit the local game.
The Inter-County League, because of it would give them a lot of community profile, and then the minor teams, because now they have heroes.
Long-term, stakeholders hope potential success in the IBL will allow Windsor to swing for the fences.
In Windsor, there's a lot of people here who know a lot of people at the major league level I certainly would probably love to have a minor league team here in Windsor.
Maybe getting an inter-county league team might be the prelude to that moving forward. How great would it be to be a farm team of the Detroit Tigers or have a farm club of the Toronto Blue Jays?
If successful, Windsor could see an IBL team take the field within the next 2 years. Robert Lothian, CTV News.
Something to watch for. Well, competition was fierce in Windsor's first youth cricket tournament this weekend. About 20 players came out swinging in what organizers hope will turn into an established youth league.
There's a lot of tension and pressure because there's a lot of good rewards on the line.
Unfortunately, what it looks for a team, our team just lost right now, as you can see.
We kind of found out that there is always that little gap that doesn't get covered because we don't have a youth program league going on. So we came up with the BCCL Little League, where all these kids from our coaching academies, surrounding regions are coming in and playing.
When you win a match or when you hit sixes and then everybody starts clapping and you get congratulated for stuff like that.
Kids kind of feel like they're actually playing a very big league. We give out awards after every game. We do a little post-match presentation just like an international game.
It's been really fun playing with all these people and getting to know them really well and just genuinely learning from everybody else.
It feels special, honestly. Like every time playing at the tournament, it's always fun to play and watch.
We're trying our best if it starts in fall, just a 1 month long league. If not, then definitely next year. Until then, we'll definitely host a bunch of these tournaments just to get the community together, get a good group.
Mark Carney is hours away from his self-imposed deadline to overhaul how trade works in Canada. Still ahead on Windsor's news leader, did he deliver? And as Canada gets ready to celebrate its big day, one couple's patriotic love story reminds us what this country is really about. Crew members on a Disney cruise scrambled to rescue a girl and her father who went overboard yesterday. A rescue team from the Disney Dream pulled them into a small boat as the ship returned to Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Now, Disney has acknowledged the incident, writing, "We commend our crew members for their exceptional skills and prompt actions, which ensured the safe return of both guests within minutes." How the girl fell overboard and into the water is unknown at this time. Her father jumped in after her. Hospitality workers at the CN Tower have been locked out a day before the Canada Day holiday. About 250 full and part-time hospitality workers are no longer serving food and beverages. 360 restaurant, view bistros, and Le Cafés are now closed. Both sides have been negotiating since April. Some of the main issues in the negotiations are pensions, wages, and health and safety concerns. The union says they were presented an offer on Thursday and told the company they could not accept it. Then they were notified employees would be locked out. The company says the union filed a request with the Ministry of Labour that triggered a countdown to allow a legal strike or lockout today. A date has been set for the by-election that is expected to return Pierre Poilievre to Parliament. The vote in the Alberta riding of Battle River Crowfoot has been set for August 18th. It's considered by many as the safest Conservative seat in the country. If he wins, Poilievre will be in the House of Commons for the fall sitting that's set for mid-September. Former Conservative MP Damien Kirk resigned the seat earlier this month to clear the way for the party leader to run. Poilievre lost his Carleton seat, which is in the Ottawa area, in the last federal election. The by-election was called by Prime Minister Mark Carney. Well, the Prime Minister is just hours away now from his self-imposed deadline to make major changes to how trade works within the country, which was a core component of his election campaign. CTV's Colton Prail on where that promise stands as of right now.
We could carry the kegs, maybe.
This Ottawa brewer dreams of selling his beer across the country, but he can't even get to store shelves just 10 kilometers away.
By the time it gets to the consumer in the glass at a bar in Quebec, it costs more than they're willing to pay. And for us as a small business, it just doesn't make any sense.
Reducing interprovincial trade barriers is something Mark Carney promised to achieve quickly.
From a federal level to have free trade by Canada Day.
Largely, he's succeeded. The Liberals passed the infrastructure building Bill C-5 this month and have dropped most, but not all, federal exemptions in the Canada Free Trade Agreement. Still, economists say Canadians may not feel much of a difference in their wallets.
Even if we've eliminated everything, I don't think the gains will come to $200 billion a year or anywhere close.
That's because most barriers to trade in Canada exist at the provincial level. Ontario, Nova Scotia, PEI, and Quebec have all introduced or passed legislation to reduce trade barriers. But if Ottawa really wants to make an impact, experts say it needs to build.
We need more and better rail. We need more and better roads. We need improvements to our bridges, to our ports.
Trade barriers aren't all Carney promised by Canada Day.
To sign this order to deliver that tax cut.
Carney delivered on his promised tax cuts to the carbon tax, lowering the bottom rate of the income tax, and eliminating the GST for some first-time home buyers. He's also signed a strategic defense partnership with the European Union, another Canada Day promise. Still, at breweries like this, they're looking for the Prime Minister to deliver on the spirit of his promises as well.
Until they lower the trade barriers, there's still trade barriers.
Experts say if Carney is adamant on getting provinces to match his free trade efforts, he could use transfer payments or other federal dollars to compel premiers to reduce trade barriers. Colton Prail, CTV News, Ottawa.
Tonight we have a Canada Day love story that spans the far north to southern Ontario. A London couple has created a large display for the nation's birthday amidst a personal battle with dementia. CTV's Sean Irvin introduces us.
From painted boulevards to entrance gates wrapped in the nation's colors, the patriotic efforts of husband and wife Barbara Armstrong and Albert Bernhardt are appreciated by passers-by. The pair have been decorating the front of their Westminster Drive property to mark multiple holidays since the start of the pandemic. This year, their Canada Day display is the largest ever.
I think everybody, especially this year, should be celebrating to be Canadian.
But this display is not just a story about the love for one's country. It's an actual love story that will melt your heart. The story began 25 years ago in Canada's north. Barbara was on a work contract in Inuvik, Northwest Territories. She met Albert and the two fell in love. After a decade in the north, they returned to Barbara's hometown of London. Life was good until Albert was diagnosed with dementia 3 years ago.
I'm glad she's with me.
For a time, Albert helped to put up the displays, but dementia took its grip.
Every day, I lose a piece of what I had. It's awful.
That loss includes the annual effort of National Pride. This is the couple's final display.
Albert's transitioning into long-term care.
Yet before Albert moves, his dementia has given him the gift of experiencing Canada Day daily.
He sees it fresh every day, which is a beautiful thing.
I like it. I mean, I was born Canadian.
Need more joy in the world. And if it happens through celebrating our great country, then so be it.
A thoughtful message from a couple that combines love of country with a love for each other.
Give us a kiss.
Oh, nom, 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 nom.
Happy Canada Day.
But more.
In London, Sean Irvin, CTV News.
Well, they've still got the spark. Well, there was a spark on the markets today. Broad-based gains helping Canada's main stock index climb higher today. You can see there up 165 points. The Dow also surging 276, while the Nasdaq climbs 96 points. The Canadian dollar also up today to rest at 73.30 cents U.S. Gold up more than $20 an ounce, and oil falls 41 cents a barrel.
I called them and they said, "You're deceased." I said, "You're talking."
Well, she looks alive. She looks alive. She sounds alive, but according to the federal government, she's dead. Coming up, June Miller's fight to prove she exists.
Let's look at our CTV News weather snapshot. Thanks to Mark Harrison for this great image. Just ahead, will showers and or thunderstorms be the weather story tonight? Will fairer weather be in store for Canada Day? We'll find out. My forecast with the answers next.
Discussion here at Windsor City Hall.
Windsor's top stories.
A major project is about to get underway.
Breaking news alerts.
Severe weather is a possibility.
And watch live.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us.
Download the CTV News app.
Okay, Gary is back with his extended look at the forecast. And Gary, we started the day with some rumbly action here in Windsor, and we may not be out of the woods just yet.
That's right. And within the vicinity throughout southern Ontario, scattered showers and thunderstorms, some of the severe nature around 3:45 p.m. our time. We're looking at a Doppler indicated severe thunderstorm with some circulation, rotation, hence a tornado warning was issued in and around the city of London. We are still in a heat warning. Because of that heat and humidity, we have seen showers and thunderstorms across the region. Our temperature today, about a degree, almost 2 degrees, above the seasonal average, reaching very close to 29 degrees today, feeling like about 40 at 2 p.m. Our average high is 27. And it's been warm through the overnights the last few days. We are holding at around 28 under mostly cloudy conditions at the airport in Windsor. That's 82 degrees Fahrenheit. Cooler in Chatham-Kent, closer to 24, 25, between 75 and about 76 Fahrenheit. Cloudy and scattered showers through the region. Thunderstorms linger, and because of the humidity and conditions where it feels like about 35 to 41 in extreme southwestern Ontario, we'll be in this unstable, humid, very buoyant air mass through tonight into tomorrow morning. More on the Canada Day forecast in moments. It's warming up across the Great Lakes. obviously, over the last couple of days. It's warmer still further east towards southern Quebec and Montreal, 30 degrees there, and the prairies are in the mid-20s. This disturbance isolated in some areas, the showers and thunderstorms, clustered in others, continues to be the story for this evening, and perhaps lingering effects on the rear side or the reverse side of this area of low pressure through tonight. So we could see residual effects, and with that, scattered showers for tomorrow morning, technically Canada Day before dawn, and more showers through to about 7, 8 a.m. are possible, but then things look sunny. So Canada Day could technically start with rain post-midnight, and by sunrise, we could be seeing some sunshine. For now, we are mild, warm, humid, and active in the atmosphere, with thunderstorms threatening through to perhaps even midnight. For Canada Day, a high of 26 feels like 33. The afternoon looks better than the morning. Sunshine Wednesday, 30, 29, 27. Thursday into Friday, cloudy, then sunshine, and then fair weather for the most part. Saturday, Sunday, Monday of next week, with temperatures reaching 30 degrees for a couple of days.
Lifetime, brought to you by Safeguard Medical Alert Systems.
Novo Nordisk has issued a recall for a lot of Ozempic due to possible cracked glass cartridges. The company notified Health Canada of the issue and says the medication is being recalled from wholesalers and pharmacies across the country. The health department is asking users to verify if the product is affected and report any side effects to Health Canada. A Vancouver woman is caught in a confusing bureaucratic nightmare. Her social insurance number has been deactivated and her pension payments have stopped. And as CTV's Shannon Patterson reports, it's because, in the eyes of the government, she's dead.
When June Miller's husband, Giorgio, passed away last September after 35 years of marriage, the grieving widow was left to file his final tax return.
They said, we won't accept it online, you have to mail it in. I said, I can do that. So I put his and mine in the same envelope.
She was flabbergasted when her tax assessment arrived in the mail addressed to the estate of the late June Miller.
I called them and they said, you're deceased. I said, you're talking to me, deceased. What are you saying? You have to change that. And they said, well, there's a process. You have to prove that you're alive.
Miller went to Service Canada in person and provided all her ID. The funeral home that took care of her husband wrote a letter confirming Giorgio is the one that died, not her. And her doctor wrote one too, saying June Miller is very much alive. But in the eyes of the federal government, she's dead.
Miller is newly retired, but she says without her Canada Pension Plan payments, she would have to return to work. And she can't do that because her social insurance number has been deactivated.
There was a point where I laughed, and I'm saying, Giorgio's up there, and he's laughing, going, oh, June, look at this mess you got yourself into. Then I was annoyed and angry because I'm talking and I'm repeating and I'm talking and I'm repeating and nobody's getting it at Canada Revenue.
In an email, the CRA said when Canadians are mistakenly declared dead, it is most often an issue with an actual deceased person's tax return, and it can usually be resolved quickly.
So I said, well, I really want you to help me because I don't want to be dead. My goal in life is to be 107, and they took that away a month ago.
The 65-year-old's been told her case is now before a review board.
They're going to review it and deem me alive or dead.
Shannon Patterson, CTV News, Vancouver.
Beyoncé in danger? Coming up on Windsor's News Leader, what went wrong high above her hometown crowd? That's when we return.
Pure Country 89, Windsor's country music station. Pure access to the biggest stars and the hottest songs. Download the free iHeartRadio app to listen to Pure Country everywhere.
Well, when you think Canada, maple syrup and poutine might come to mind, not fajitas and salsa. But as CTV's Peter Sperling tells us, Lone Star Texas Grill has become an Ontario staple. after getting its start in Ottawa 40 years ago.
You probably know that sizzle. Fajitas served on a skillet, one of the dishes that makes Lone Star Texas Grill famous.
It's very juicy, very flavorful, so it's always a classic when I come here.
It's the dish of choice for Kaz Druniak, who is dining with his family.
It's a family favorite, I guess. We've been coming here since I was little for our birthdays and special occasions. So.
Did you know that they're absolutely Canadian?
Yes, I did, actually.
The restaurant is not only Canadian, but started here in Ottawa at Baseline and Fisher when two football players from Texas found themselves in a nation's capital playing in the CFL on the Ottawa Rough Riders.
Really enjoyed the city, and they thought there was one thing missing, though, and you know, the Texas flavor was missing, so they took it upon themselves to open up the first Lone Star Cafe, which is now Lone Star Texas Grill.
That was nearly 40 years ago. Since, it's grown to 22 locations in Ontario, including 8 in Ottawa, like this one in Barrhaven.
I think it's just unique, and I mean, a bunch of other companies tried along the way to do it, and I think something we have going for us is we haven't gone anywhere, and we've been relevant, we've been present.
Serving up favorites like daily in-house made salsa and chips. The meats in those fajitas cooked over a wood fire. Served with hot tortillas and washed down with a drink to match.
We were the first restaurant in Canada to bring Corona across the border. Tequila, we are also the #1 purchaser for tequila across restaurants in Canada as well.
Customers love it.
I'm glad they're Canadian.
And being a Canadian restaurant with Texas flavor.
Well, I'm Canada Day baby, so it means a lot to me. And I'm a transplant from England, so being in Canada and especially having a July 1st birthday, it means a lot. And I love the place.
Peter Sperling, CTV News.
Well, some nervy moments for pop superstar Beyoncé during her Cowboy Carter concert Saturday night in her hometown of Houston, Texas. On social media posts, the singer is heard saying stop as the red car she rides in on above the crowd tilted dangerously, as you can see here, to one side. The car was eventually lowered onto the stage and she was able to finish the concert. Thanks. Or question for us, we want to hear from you. You can send us your story ideas, photos, or even videos. You just have to text that over to us at 10400.
Unscripted, unpredictable, and unapologetic. Wake up with Hannah and Johnny on 93.9 Virgin Radio.
This is your CTV Windsor, our community calendar. The tradition continues. Canada Day celebrations in Amherstburg. Tuesday, July the 1st. Bring the family to Toddy Jones Park for a day full of family fun. See you next time on Our Community.
Okay, it's time to check in on what's happening now with Melanie Kentner. Melanie, LaSalle holding a long-awaited opening over the weekend.
That's right. There was a ribbon cutting for the new Rotary Circle at LaSalle Landing, and children and town councilors didn't waste any time getting their feet wet.
3, 2, 1.
The circle was organized and paid for by the Rotary Club LaSalle Centennial. Residents will be able to enjoy the 3 shade sails and 24 water jets. The Rotary Club continues to raise funds for the project, looking to reach about $133,000.
It's so exciting. I was here a few weeks ago and I was just giddy, just absolutely giddy. So to see the kids here is just fantastic. And it really just, fulfills our dream of giving back to the community and, for the kids to have a place to play.
We've got those details online at ctvnewswindsor.ca.
Fantastic. It looks like a successful launch, Melanie. We've also got hopefully a useful list online over at our website heading into Canada Day tomorrow.
Yes, many people do have the day off to celebrate Canada Day, so there are a few closures to keep in mind. Post offices, banks, government offices, public library branches, and LCBO stores will be closed. However, Windsor's 3 biggest malls will be open and running on reduced hours, along with most grocery stores. It's always a good idea to call ahead for a specific retailer. You can check out the full open and close list on our website. And in our social spotlight, you and I both know a 5-pound Yorkie is no match for a full-grown black bear. But don't tell that to this little guy who chased a bear out of his yard over the weekend.
Lincoln, get over here. The bear was there. He had moved out a garbage can and was just about to start going through it, and Lincoln runs after him. Lincoln! They kind of start to make it up the hill a little bit. Lincoln jumps back down, then goes back after the bear again. And as soon as the bear made one kind of little movement, Lincoln jumped off the hill. He did a little bit of a face plant onto the pavement and then came back.
On Saturday, a bear breaking into the garbage shed at this home in Mission, BC got the attention of the family's tiny 4-year-old Yorkie Chihuahua mix named Lincoln. The video of the encounter quickly went viral.
Lincoln is, as small dogs are, they're super aggressive, and they think that they're, the bee's knees. He came back unscathed, and we're happy for that.
What a fearless little guy, Ricardo.
Yeah, that's what you want as a bodyguard right there. It's just that cute little Yorkie Chihuahua. I almost want to just tell him, like, Lincoln, you are, a Chihuahua, not a grizzly. Take it easy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But the bear didn't want that smoke, though, so, good for him. Way to go, Lincoln. That is a look at what's happening now. Mel, thanks so much. Well, are you planning a summer road trip? When we return, some wild Canadian roadside wonders that you might want to add to your itinerary.
The latest news to start your day.
Interviews, conversations with the top officials, the difference makers, and personalities in Windsor-Essex.
Only on Windsor-Essex #1 morning show.
It's Mornings with Mike and Meg on AM 800.
Yeah, lots of cloud cover in the region today, Gary, as we were just talking about in the break there. It seems like it's just perennially been hanging around, yes, threatening us with rain. We've got some, I guess, drips and drabs, but not just one big fell swoop just yet.
We've been spared for the city center, I would say, Windsor proper, but surrounding areas have gotten into it, and further east along the 401, we've gotten into some severe weather headed towards Strathroy and our friends in London, Ontario. Canada Day, though, despite the icon showing some showers, that should be in the morning. A nice break, I would say, mid-morning towards the early afternoon. 26 feels like 33, and then 29, 30, 31, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, increasing sunshine. Saturday, Sunday, Monday will be in the low 30s and then dropping off to a more seasonal 27. So up and down the temperatures over the next little while. Canada Day, I think, will not be a washout. We will see some sunshine for a good part of the day.
Great news for those planning on attending the Canada Day Parade in Windsor.
That's right.
All right, Gary, thank you so much for that. Well, this is, I think, a great Canada Day story for you. If you are planning to hit the road and tour the country this summer, then this next one is perfect for you. From giant landmarks to quirky pit stops, some of the country's most surprising sights are waiting just off the highway. All you got to do is drive. CTV's Sarah Plowman takes us on a journey to discover the roadside marvels that make for the perfect summer detour.
In a country as large as Canada, the open road feels endless. Exits that lure you to lunch or a destination of another kind. The promise of the world's largest axe in Nakawik, New Brunswick.
It's intriguing, very different.
The axe is, as advertised, 15 meters tall, 10 meters wide, built in the early 90s when the community was named Forestry Capital of Canada.
Pretty large, pretty intimidating. Probably chop some big logs with that.
It brings a lot of tourists in, and even the community is very proud of what we have here.
Canada is full of roadside attractions, like the Big Apple, the world's largest curling rock. How about a giant goose, or the world's largest beaver, pierogi, nickel, mosquito, and on and on. There's Mac the Moose, who once lost his tallest title to Norway, but reclaimed it with taller antlers.
The idea that these quirky, whimsical things were a good way of putting your small community on the map started in the middle of the last century, in the 1950s when people were hitting the roads again. It started in the States and it definitely crept up to Canada.
Not all hold records, but hold our attention, like this big potato at a market outside of Fredericton.
New Brunswick's roadside attractions are a perfect mix of folk art, tourist traps, and civic pride.
Take the world's largest fiddleheads, salmon or lobster in Shediac. Cute or scary?
It's cute, yeah. But lobsters are really scary and really wet.
Dots on the map that keep drawing drivers away from the road. Sarah Plowman, CTV News, Shediac, New Brunswick.
Yeah, not a bad reason to hit the road, go check in, some sites.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to see the Big Nickel. I don't know why the nickel is...
I haven't seen the Big Nickel, but I have been out to New Brunswick. It's such a beautiful part of our country. I love the drive. Anywhere along the Trans-Canada, east or west, looks good. Yeah.
We've got a great big country, lots of sights to see, and that's just a snippet of them. So, hey, maybe something to think about this summer.
That's right.
That is our time this evening. We've got no time for sightseeing right now. That's all we've got.
For updates throughout the evening, go to ctvnewswindsor.ca.
Well, we will see you again at 11 tonight. We will take a break for Canada Day tomorrow before returning with your regular newscast on Wednesday. I'm Ricardo, Veneza, and for everyone here at CTV on both sides of the camera, have a great night.
Good night.